My guest at this time is a former WWE superstar who's going to be making his New Japan Pro Wrestling debut this Friday on New Japan Strong. It is Fred Rosser, a.k.a. Darren Young. Fred, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Making moves, making $1 million moves, still making moves. And one thing I do not like is when people say former, because former sounds washed up. I always say I'm a WWE veteran because my career with WWE started in 2003 when I was doing extra work from 2003 to 2009 and ultimately getting signed with WWE in 2009 and then getting released in 2017. So I like calling myself a veteran because I've put in some time with the company. Now I'm making $1 million moves, like I said earlier. But thanks for having me on. I always say, don't die with the story and you tell it.
No disrespect at all. You're absolutely a veteran, and I've had the pleasure to get to chat with you a couple times over the years, Fred. And I know that you are just such an outgoing guy. You do so much in the ring, but you also do so much outside of the ring. You're an advocate. You're always doing charity work. How are you dealing, first of all, before we get to all the New Japan stuff, how are you dealing with this pandemic where you're getting locked in right now and aren't able to go out and do the many things that you enjoy doing right now at the moment?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. And I got to knock on some wood because as crappy as 2020 has been for many of us, I've been quite fortunate to do well with a lot of ambassadorships, repping keto snacks, repping CBD and THC products, and using my social media as a platform to elevate people. So I've been lucky with the ambassadorships, and now I'm really lucky debuting with New Japan Pro Wrestling, which was always a bucket list of mine. And on top of all of that, my way of giving back to the community is I've been doing a lot of online training for my fans and my family to kind of give back during this pandemic. Because my workouts have been Rocky style. My workouts have been in the backyard since March 15th. So I've been able to maintain my somewhat my strength. But preparing for New Japan, I didn't know this would happen for me. So I always stay ready so I don't have to get ready. So my training outdoors has been high volume. I'm more conditioned than I've ever been in my life. So stepping into a New Japan Pro Wrestling ring, I honestly didn't miss a beat. So I didn't miss a beat, and I can't wait for the world to see what I bring to the table.
Now, I'm stoked to see you in a new environment like this. I really am, Fred. I mean, before we get to what you did there or going to be doing, talk to me about how this happened. How did your relationship with New Japan form? How did these appearances come together?
Well, to make a long story short, this whole story about me getting into New Japan isn't a gimmick. It's not a storyline. It was something that I've always wanted to do. WWE was always first for me. I've always been fascinated with the New Japan style. I love all styles, but it's WWE, the American wrestling, and then Japanese wrestling was number two. So fast forward to maybe 2010, I was always good friends with Lance Hoyt, and then fast forward to September 2019, him and I were on a show in Pomona, California.
Okay.
And at the time, he was still with New Japan, and a lot of wrestlers always ask you, "Oh, so what have you been up to? What have you been up to?" And from guys like Hulk Hogan to Carl Anderson to Lance Hoyt, I always stress it's always been a bucket list of mine to compete in Japan or with New Japan. I've wrestled all over the world, but anytime I did a tour with WWE, it was either in the UK or I wasn't on tour at all whenever they toured Japan. So it's always been in the back of my mind. So I stressed it to Lance Hoyt that I had strong interest. So he had gave me this flyer that I saved, It was a show in at the Globe Theater, November of 2019. New Japan was running a show, and Lance Hoyt had gave me this September at the Pomona show.
Okay.
And he told me to show up, and the bell time was 7 p.m. I was there at 5 p.m. to meet all the wrestlers, to meet Rocky Romero, and to just watch the show from beginning to end, because I never attended the show and I wanted to watch and see if I fit in with their style. And that's the one question that kept coming back into my head over and over again. I'm here to see if I fit in. Do I fit in? Do I fit in? And from beginning to end watching the show, the answer was yes. So I stayed after. I talked to Rocky Romero, who's been very influential in getting me into New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I stressed to him that it was a bucket list of mine to perform here. I'm not unfamiliar with tryouts. May 4th, 2009, out of 75 guys and girls from all over the world, I beat them all out in a WWE tryout. So if I needed to go to the LA Dojo tryout, I was willing to do that at 36 years old.
Wow. Wow.
There's no shame. There's no shame in my game. But Rocky said, no, let's just, we'll see if we have something for you. And this was, like I said, November 2019. And then fast forward to probably like May or June, Rocky Romero had reached out to me and he told me about this opportunity right when the pandemic was like just crazy. So he told me about this opportunity with New Japan and I was just torn. So I had to double check with my family to see if it was a good idea, because I don't want to affect anyone in my family, but my family blessed me with this opportunity and I ran with it.
Man, that's awesome, dude. And so, like, first of all, awesome that you still have the flyer. Like, I was not expecting you to actually physically bring the flyer out, man. That's really cool.
I mean, I spoke it into existence. The mind is such a powerful machine. You know what I mean? I would think about it daily. So I had this sitting on my bookshelf as a reminder of where I want to be, because I still got a lot left in the tank. I'm 36 years old. I'm like wine, baby. I age gracefully with time. And the best has yet to come out of Mr. No Days Off, Fred Rosser.
Man. And so the New Japan Strong tapings, they were this past weekend, right? Just so I'm getting my chronological order correct. Is that right?
There's been a plethora of tapings, July and August. The tapings continue. They're all scattered. I just can't wait for my debut, September 4th, this Friday. So yeah, the tapings have been going on since July.
Okay. And for you, I mean, having spent 14 years in one place, Fred, how different is it for you being in a New Japan locker room as opposed to a WWE locker room? What are the differences between those two environments for you?
Well, with New Japan, a lot of the guys I was familiar with, seeing them on the internet and all that stuff. I hadn't been able to share a locker room with guys like Jay White and Jeff Cobb and Dave Finlay and a plethora of other talented superstars. And at first it was a little intimidating, because like you watch these guys and like, man, this, I don't know if I can keep up with these guys. Their style is so hard hitting and it's intimidating, but something happens when I go from being a fanboy, being a fan of these guys, to when I'm in the locker room and I'm putting on my gear, I go from being a fan and fanboy to I'm your competition. I've got September 11, 2002, it'll be 19 years that I've been doing my thing in wrestling. So I go from being a fanboy to competition, and being able to hang with these guys. The transition from WWE to New Japan, Kevin Kelly was one of the first guys I did an interview with about my whole experience, pretty much saying the same thing to him I'm saying to you. He said that my transition from WWE to New Japan is great. I'm a great fit for New Japan. He's happy to see me in New Japan. He knows that fans are going to see me and be like, I know that guy. That guy looks familiar. That's Darren Young, but he's going by his government name. Wow. Out of all people, why New Japan? Well, now the fans know the backstory. Now it's time for me to deliver. And I'm a man of few words. Actions speak louder than words. And I can't wait for everyone to see my debut.
Yeah. Can you tease us at all with what you're going to be doing? Or do you just want to leave this an open-ended kind of thing where it's just like tune in and see? I don't know. What would you like to say? Anything?
A lot of concussions over the years, CTE. So I don't remember half the stuff that I've done. You just have to tune in. I'm excited myself. I've been Rocky Romero, who I'm always texting, saying, I can't wait till the announcement's made. I was going crazy. No one knew except for me and a handful of my friends. So I didn't want to jump the gun on this huge announcement made by New Japan Pro Wrestling. But that's my excuse. CTE, CTE. I don't remember what I've done. You just got to tune in.
Well, I don't want to pry too much here, but since you brought it up, how do you deal with concussions like that in CTE? I mean, I know it's kind of, laugh it off and all that, but that's a pretty serious thing. I was just talking to Rob Van Dam yesterday about this and his Headstrong documentary and how he's using CBG, I guess now, as a regenerative thing for dead brain tissues. I don't know if I'm speaking gibberish to you or if this makes any sense what I'm saying right now.
That's the one and only fact that I know about, CBD and all those other forms that help you mentally. I know it repairs brain tissue, damaged brain tissue. So I'm a huge believer in that. The Tylenol and all that stuff that's very harmful to you. I'm a huge believer in the CBD, and that's why I'm always promoting it on my social media. And I'm a huge fan of RVD. With WWE, they would always call me the medicine man because I always had CBD available, and it definitely helped me on car rides, 300-mile car rides from city to city when I got Titus O'Neil in the passenger seat. I've got Mark Henry in the back seat. So with all that stress out of them, I needed my CBD. But yes, the stress was unbearable. I needed it. But it's definitely helped me out a lot, the CBD.
Man, that's awesome to hear. Well, back to the New Japan stuff here. The other thing about these tapings is very unique. Obviously, we're in the pandemic right now. You've spent 14 years performing in front of huge crowds. How is it now for you having to adapt to playing in front of no fans in these New Japan environments?
Yeah, I have my own podcast, Pro and Bro Wrestling, and it's very therapeutic for me. I think we're on episode 59, where I actually this week I talk about my experience with New Japan, and so I've been able to watch as a fan, and now I'm able to actually be in it. And the fans are so important for me. They kind of cushion the falls we take. It cushions the abuse that we take in the ring. It gives us time to have our beats and moments where we can kind of register and sell what's being done and be better storytellers. The fans are so important, but something happens when I hit the curtain and all my attention is on my opponent and working the cameras, working the people at home. That's my main goal, to make sure that my story is told the best way it can. And the commentators, Kevin Kelly's been in the game since '91, and he's an incredible storyteller. He's going to make me look like $1 million on commentary, and that's so important. But not only the respect of the fans, that is so near and dear to me, but the respect of my peers. When I can come back from the curtain and have Fit Finley's son, Dave Finley, say to me that, everything I'm doing in the ring translates very well on camera. And the respect of your peers is very high to me, when you can come from the back. For example, one of my bucket list matches was against Sean Spears, who I had in 2019. Great. And when I came back from the curtain and he came back from the curtain, he was like, man, I needed that. And that's the ultimate honor from your coworker, your associate, that you brought the best out of them. And that's what I want to do, not only with New Japan, but any ring I step into. I always want to bring the best out of my opponent. And I can promise you, I have definitely done that in New Japan. But I'm definitely going to make a name for myself in New Japan. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it's interesting right now with New Japan. I almost feel like it's like, not even because they wanted to do it on purpose, just by force of the situation. It feels like they're developing like a New Japan American roster and like a New Japan Japanese roster just because of travel and things like that. Do you feel like that's kind of the direction New Japan's going right here? Do you think that the New Japan American brand will have a different feel than the New Japan Japan roster or the shows that people are accustomed to, or no?
Well, again, 19 years, September 11th in this business. In this in this element, I just want to be a fly on the wall. I just want to be able to learn from the guys that are on the roster. Like I said, every time I step in the ring, it's just like a new experience for me. I feel like it's my first time in the ring. Um, my goal ultimately is to perform in Japan. So this is just my foot in the door to make moves in America. And hopefully in 2021, I can venture out to Japan and do some tours. Um, and hopefully we can have some fans in attendance here in
Yeah.
the States. But like I said, I'm a fly on the wall. I can only just keep doing what I'm doing and just stepping out the box. And that's what I'm doing, is stepping out the box.
Yeah, for sure. And with New Japan, obviously there's a lot of great talent there. Is there one name or match that you are like, man, if I can have that one big New Japan match, it would be against X? Is there somebody in mind for you?
Oh man, I'd have to say like probably like Kenta,
Okay.
Tanahashi, Dave Finley, Jeff Cobb. Those are guys I definitely want to lock horns with in the ring. And I think it'll happen. I think it'll definitely happen. So we'll just have to watch and see.
Yeah, man. Well, and I had to bring up here before, while I've got some time with you, you made a lot of noise a couple months ago. I don't know if you noticed that Nexus thing you brought up, how there was almost a reunion or something. Like, it's become, here's the thing about this I think is so interesting. I've had to talk about this with Stu Bennett, right? We did an interview with him. Bray Wyatt is now joking on Twitter about a Nexus reunion. Has there been any talk now substantively amongst you guys about doing something together with Nexus and WWE since all the noise was made, or is it just one of those things that was a fun laugh and we're all moving on to the next thing now?
Well, both, half and half. Right before the pandemic, probably February, I was reached out by WWE and they said, "Hey, we have this opportunity, WrestleMania, Nexus reunion. We're gonna have you at Access doing stuff for the network." So I was happy. I didn't burn any bridges with WWE.
Right.
So about a month later, after they contacted me, I was given the bad news that the pandemic happened and they had to cancel Access and cancel the stuff that we were doing. So I was pretty devastated, but life goes on,
Yep.
gotta keep it moving.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
yeah, like uh yeah, so that was true. But I think recently, what was that one group that debuted? They
Retribution.
tore,
Yeah.
yeah, Retribution. Just recently, out of I wanted to get some good laughs. I had said on social media, "Oh my goodness, the Nexus Alliance is back in WWE," and like my Twitter feed was just blowing up. So I was just at doing that. I was just making up rumors just to get a rise out of the fans. So half and half.
Okay.
WrestleMania, we were going to be coming back to do who knows what.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys like Bray Wyatt, guys like Kurt Hawkins, Matt Cardona, they're always joking with Heath and I. Heath is one of my closest friends, probably out of the Nexus. They're always joking about when we gonna have that Nexus reunion. We need to have that Nexus reunion. Those guys are always mocking Heath, Zach and Hawkins. They're always mocking them. But who knows? Never say never, like with WWE or just with wrestling in general. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Anyway, I just wondering. I laughed when Bray Wyatt tweeted out the other day, "Are you here for the Nexus thing?" When Wade Barrett is coming back to WWE. So anyway, just thought of you. Um,
Yes.
you're great, Fred. I want to thank you so much for the time, man. I'm very excited. So, make a long story short here, to wrap it up. So, your future here, it would sound like, are you hoping and seeking a former longer term role with New Japan Pro Wrestling? Is this where we can expect to see you long term here going forward, is with New Japan Pro Wrestling?
I hope so. Absolutely. Like I said, 36 years old, still got a lot left in the tank. I feel good. I look good. I'm here to represent. I'm here to bring the Block the Hate movement to New Japan, and I'm doing just that. You know, my coming out story with WWE had a galvanic effect on the wrestling and entertainment world. It paved the way for other athletes to come out and be themselves. Me with New Japan, I'm breaking barriers and I'm coming in there and I'm letting loose and I'm representing. You know, the Block the Hate movement is definitely going to be running wild in New Japan. And yeah, I hope it's long term. I hope it's long term. I want it to be long term. But again, I'm a fly on the wall in this whole situation. So I just need to just watch and just keep my eyes open. You know, the Bullet Club, you know, man, you know, I got to keep my eyes open and have eyes in the back of my head because the Bullet Club could come, you know, coming for me. But of course, you
Or you
know,
could join them. I mean, a lot of gaijin have, reinvented themselves in Bullet Club. You brought up Kenta, I don't know. I could see you in that
uh,
mix. So,
it would be so much fun. But like I said, I feel great. I look great, and the sky's the limit for Mr. No Days Off Fred Rosser, my government name.